say a special good morning to our listeners of Classic Radio. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Those of you who are viewing GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11, or Channel 20, good morning to you also. What about our social media listeners and viewers? Those of you via the Facebook page, YouTube channels, good morning. Those of you listening via GBN's webpage, that's gbn.gd, good morning to you. Welcome to another edition of To The Point. It's Wednesday, the 6th day of December, 2023. Good morning. On Wednesdays, we usually entertain various departments within government. And this morning, of course, we have at least a couple of folks with us this morning. We have two departments that suddenly will be representing this morning. First, we have the 50th anniversary secretary, that Ms. Gail Purcell. She'll be with us for a couple of minutes this morning, giving us an update on, of course, some of the events to come and maybe just reacquaint our minds with our, of course, 50th anniversary of independence celebrations coming up within the month of February in 2024. Let's go over to Ms. Purcell and say good morning. Good morning, Ms. Purcell. How you doing? Welcome to the point this morning. I am not sure what's happening, but I'm not getting an audio from you. I'm not sure what's happening. If you are muted, I think I'm noticing that your audio is muted just a wee bit, so maybe you could have that taken care of.
There we go.
Good morning and welcome.
Apologies.
No problem. You know, sometimes technology kind of defeats us for some reason or the other.
Let me say good morning once again to your viewers and your listeners, and thanks for having me here.
All right, welcome. Well, we had the official. We also have of course, another guest with us this morning. I'm not seeing that other individual joining in us yet, but probably when he do pops in, we will certainly do entertain him. Let's move on for the time being.
Okay.
Our 50th anniversary.
There he is.
You know. Oh yes, he's here with us. Good morning to you, sir. Good morning. Yes. And maybe I should allow him to introduce himself. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome.
Good morning, sir, and good morning to GBN and the Grenada. Good morning to Ms. Purcell.
Good morning, Mr. Mann.
I'm here to joining her to really speak about the Calcomonic monarch. So I'm here. When you're ready for me, I'll be able to speak.
Certainly so. All right. Ms. Purcell, I'm assuming you're about to give us some update on some of the happenings for 50th anniversary of independence. I'll give you the opportunity to go right ahead and share the information with our listeners and viewers this morning.
Right. So we're starting to roll into full swing. Things have been happening since launch. We've really been in kind of what I call the engine room, planning and preparing. We started off last week with the launch of our mobile museum at the St. George's Anglican School, which was a great success. So we'll have these traveling exhibits that will move between schools throughout Grenada. Our team just returned from Carriacou and Petit Martinique, where they did the installations there. So we're really looking forward to that taking full swing. We have 8 schools we would have installed in since our launch, and they will continue in January when students return after the Christmas break.
All right, give us before you move on. It's called is it the mobile? I missed the mobile library.
Yeah.
Or museum.
Mobile museum. Mobile museum.
Yes. Give us a little more details about of course this particular initiative.
Well, the Mobile Museum is an initiative that came from our a few of our subcommittees, our education, heritage, and history subcommittees. They work very hard to get this initiative off, and what it has created is an opportunity for us to install these physical structures in the school where we can rotate the content that we share with the students. So we will have things they will learn about their leaders, they'll learn about the national symbols, they'll learn about the rich history in Carriacou for boat building culture, for example. So a variety of topics, and that will rotate between schools. So schools will get an opportunity to be exposed to all the different topics, and the students can interact with the mobile museum. There are 3 components to it. The second component is getting the schools to create their own exhibit. So they now, after experiencing this, now going to come together and create their own exhibits where they talk about what they, from their point of view, the history, the culture, their community, whatever they determine they want to share for the independence period. And we're going to be judging those exhibits. And the third component of it includes the third component of it is a podcast. So in the podcast now, they will come together again and kind of, in the digital era, talk about all of the things that they've learned and experienced throughout the period of the Mobile Museum. So the museum is not going to end with Independence Day. It continues throughout the year. So all schools will eventually be touched by it.
All right. Great initiative there. Certainly happy to hear that. Tell us, what else is happening?
Yeah. So we have lots going on, but the things that are coming up, we invited Mr. Mark here from the Ministry of Culture to specifically share around the Calypso Independence Monarch that's coming up, because we have some critical dates, and I know he wants to share some information with the public.
All right, so let's go over to Mr. Mark. Mr. Mark, good morning once again, and welcome to The Point this morning. Calypso, it's a field that I know you have a great passion for, so let's get some information about what's to take place with the Calypso competition.
Good morning. Good morning again, and as you know, that's my life. Calypso, culture, music, that's my life. I want to say this year, over the years, I've been doing the Ministry of Culture. With me as a coordinator, has been doing the Independent Calypso, but this year is different, because it's the 50th, and we really have a lot of things planned to make it big and better. But some key things that is important right now for the Calypsonians out there are the dates. The dates, that is important. So I will just outline the dates and what is happening around these dates. First of all, the 4th of December will be the deadline for submission of songs, on flash drive or to the ministry email. So that email is sco@culture.gov.gd.
So you mentioned Mr. Mark. You mentioned the fourth. Mr. Mark, you mentioned the fourth, but I'm assuming the fourth is already gone. So I'm assuming
the 4th of January.
It should be the 4th of January. Oh, you said the 4th of December. I was a little bit puzzled by that. All right.
Sorry, that's my bad. Sorry. The 4th, I'm thinking the deadline for submission of songs via the email or flash drive. The judging of the preliminary round, because we judge the preliminary round not with band, but we have a panel of 3 judges who will listen to the songs.
I suppose we're having a bit of a connection issue there with Mr. Mark this morning for some reason.
Through a hi-fi system of January. Let me move. I'll just move a little bit. You hear me now?
Yeah, go right ahead, please. Go right ahead.
It's better now?
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Right. So I just said that the judging of the preliminary round, which is on a hi-fi, with 3 judges, will be done on the 5th. From that, we will choose 20 Calypsonians to go into the semifinals, and the semifinals will happen with band. So a band will be backing the 20 semifinalists, and this will happen on the 28th of January at La Sagesse, St. David's. We have the semifinals of the Independence Calypso. And then most important now, the finals, from the 20 semifinals, we will choose 9 finalists coming up against the reigning monarch, Nivian Cox. That will happen on the 27th of January at the Sotes Bus Terminus. We have a little discussion with the venue, and I'm looking at it still, but so far it is happening on the 27th of January at the Sotes Bus Terminus. No, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but this year it will be completely different than what we have over the years. Over the years, we just used to have a DJ playing before, and then the Calypso starts at 8. Same time, it starts at 8 p.m. Now, we have some new things into the competition this year. I don't want to say too much, but I want people to come on the night, and then they will see the addition to the 10 Calypsonians who will be in competition.
All right.
In a nutshell, this is basically what is happening. I get in contact with the majority of the Calypsonians because we had a WhatsApp chat. So all that information is already disseminated to them, and they give me back feedback exactly what they think and what they realize could happen, and we have discussions. So I know they are working right now. Most of them, if they don't finish yet, they are in studios so that they get the songs ready so that they could submit it on the 4th of January for getting into the competition.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mark, for the information, and I certainly hope, of course, you did mention most of the artists who are part of your group that you mentioned. Certainly, they have the various information. So the call now is for the public to anticipate the night of competition. I would certainly say that's the concern here for now.
Right. For now, I will. As time goes on, I'll give information a little more about judging criteria, what is expected of the Calypsonians. But for now, what we concentrating highly is that they get the songs to the various studios if they don't as yet, and get it prepared so that they can submit for the 4th of January. Because the 12 p.m. midnight on the 4th of January, we will not, I'm saying it again, we will not be accepting any entries after that.
All right. Certainly hope they get that information and make of course, the proper use of it. Thank you so once again, Mr. Mark, and all the best. All the best.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Purcell, anything in closing before we take a wrap this morning? Anything further you would like to share?
Just one last thing. Just going to invite, we are starting an initiative, Christmas Jubilee on the Carnage on Friday evening, starting this Friday. We're just going to be having some light entertainment, encouraging people to come down, engage. Some people may have had a chance to see the lights down there that have been installed. Some may not have been able to see that. Come down and take part with the travel tunnel that's there with the information on the plaques and be entertained by some of our local entertainment. We're doing that weekly leading up to Christmas, and that's starting this Friday from 7:30, and on the 16th, which is actually the Saturday that following the cricket, we're going to be having an after cricket activity there as well, which will include some live entertainment and performances by our local entertainers, bands, and cultural performers. So just extending the invitation to the general public to take part in that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing information this morning, Ms. Purcell, and certainly hope all works out well for the Calypso competition, and of course the other initiative that'll be put on by the 50th anniversary committee. Thank you so much for sharing information this morning.
Thank you, and we'll be back to share with more information as the time goes on.
And you're certainly welcome to be back and sharing the necessary information. Have yourself a lovely day.
Thank you. Take care.
All
Bye-bye.
Right. Once again, folks, it's To The Point here on Classic Radio, 105.5, 105.9, and GBN TV. I'll be speaking to Ms. Purcell and Ms. Gail Purcell. She is, of course, the secretariat for the 50th anniversary. And also coming up next, we have P.S. Mr. Mike Sylvester from the Ministry of Finance, and we'll still be having a chat to them. We can just chat the budget, and of course in the next segment. Stay with us, folks. We take a break, make the necessary connection, and when we come back, getting to the conversation with Mike Sylvester, P.S. Mike Sylvester. Stay with us, folks.
Christmas for 2 T20 internationals at the Grenada National Stadium on Thursday, December 14th and Saturday, December 16th. Locals get 50% off regular match tickets, plus an extra 20% off when you buy your tickets online. Visit windiescricket.com for more info.
For a limited time, the NLA has dropped all of the 2X balls from the multi-X draw. This means that you, our valuable players, have greater chances of multiplying your winnings up to 5 times more in our 2X drop promotion. Yay! And that's not all. As an additional bonus, there will be fewer free play or FP balls to draw from too. Now you have more reasons to add multi-X to your playway bets. So, value your dreams, win your way, and multiply your winnings up to 5 times more in the NLA's 2X Dropped promotion. This promotion is extended to Saturday, December 30th, 2023. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
want you control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where you are, you can be a star. Stop and take a deep breath and relax yourself. Take another deep breath and relax it, and relax it. Eliminate violence.
One day I was out playing with my friend Kevin and he was really moody, kinda sad and angry at the same time. I asked him what was the matter. Someone in his family had been doing mean things to him. He said he had to keep it a secret. So I asked Kevin, is it a good secret or a bad secret? He said he didn't know. I explained good secrets are cool things like a surprise party or a gift for a special occasion. A bad secret is when someone hurts or harms you and tells you not to tell anyone. Sometimes they might give you little things to make sure you don't tell. That's another bad secret to keep. That's mean and controlling. Kevin said it definitely fell into the bad secret category. I felt this was something an adult should help with. Because as a child, when someone hurts you, you can feel really alone and afraid. And the best people to help you are the ones you love and really, really trust. I asked him if there was any adult that he trusted. So we worked up a little plan for Kevin to talk to one of them. A while after that, I could see my friend was doing much better. Now we tell all our pals about good secrets and bad secrets so that we can all feel brave, safe, and strong. Break the silence. Child abuse is one secret you should never keep.
The race is on. Hormones are raging. Stay in your lane. Don't get left behind. Having sex with an older woman does not define who you are.
Break the silence. Child sexual abuse is one secret we should never keep.
This message brought to you by UNICEF, UK8, and this station.
Following the COVID-19 vaccination, some people may experience side effects such as soreness at the injection site, chills, nausea, body aches, or a fever. But these symptoms go away after a few days. These side effects are a result of your immune system responding to the vaccine and are not a sign that you are sick with COVID-19. The COVID-19 vaccines will not give you COVID. When you receive your vaccine, the health worker will advise you what to take if you are experiencing any of these side effects. Remember, these mild side effects cannot compare to you not being able to share memorable moments with your family and friends if you fall gravely ill from COVID. Vaccines bring us closer. Choose to get vaccinated.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. In this segment, we're expecting to have the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance with us this morning. That's Mr. Mike Sylvester. And I was eagerly awaiting him to connect, and haven't seen him done so as yet. Did mention he's going to do so shortly. So we may have to still proceed for the interest of time. I just can't have you folks just looking at the screen like that whole morning and just listening to other stuff played. So I may have to continue a wee bit. I more or less will be offering you, listeners and viewers, the opportunity opportunity to chime in with me this morning. Probably there is an issue that you, within the budget, you may like to speak about, or something you may have concern within the budget that you may want to chime in on this morning. Feel free to do so. 435-2041, 435-2041. Those of you via social media platforms, they also, you may have a concern on whom you'd like to speak about in relation to the budget. We were supposed to get some highlights about that this morning from Mr. Sylvester, but he hasn't connected as yet. So when he do so, we probably will entertain him. Hope there is enough time for us to entertain all the questions I do have to ask him this morning. Feel free to give me that call, 435-2041, 435-2041. It's to the point here on Classic Radio, GBN TV, as we take you through this morning. Good morning to those of you, of course, out in the diaspora. Good morning, those of you who are at home and listening, those of you who are viewing. Good morning once again. Certainly hope all is well with all. Once again, the lines are open. Let me make sure that lines are cleared up. 435-2041. If you do have a question or two you may like to ask, feel free to do so. And maybe we could accommodate some of your calls in the time being until, of course, we make that connection, of course, with the PS. Of course, hopefully he calls in before. We wrap the show up this morning. 435-2041. It's to the point here on Classic Radio. I certainly do know you may have some concerns that it relates to the budget, and you may can get opportunity to express it this morning. Let's go to the phone line and take our first caller. Caller, good morning, welcome.
Hi, good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you.
Go right ahead with your whatever you want to contribute this morning, please.
Yes, I have a concern about the cricket, because I'm hearing it's online. So I'm wondering if it's only online that you can get a ticket, because I'm now already hearing plenty announcement about the cricket.
All right.
And it's supposed to be happening next week, Thursday and Saturday. So I will
certainly try to get some information for you as it relates to that, in terms of how tickets could be accommodated, if it's only online, or if there's, of course, some box office that you can go pick up. I will certainly try to get information and will announce it before the day ends, or maybe pass it on to another announcer if I don't happen to be able to get it before I wrap this morning. All right? Thank you so much for your concern.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, have a good one. 435-2041. And we have made connection with Mr. Sylvester, and certainly we will entertain him shortly. And let's take another caller, then we take a short break and get the necessary setup going, and then we entertain, of course, the PS. Good morning to you, caller. Welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
I learned that the government is giving a 25% monthly salary to all public workers. That's a very good gesture. But I think ex-public workers who are pensioners should also be afforded the same 25% of that monthly salary.
All right.
That's my suggestion.
All right, caller. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, folks. We're going to take that break and make that link and get settled. Get him all settled in. That's Mr. Mike Sylvester for the PS from the Mitchell Fan. Get him settled in a wee bit, and then we come right back and of course have that conversation. Stay with us a few minutes, folks.
This Christmas episode of Caribbean Passport, there is holiday cheer from Barbados to the Bahamas. We take in the musical talents of the Love Movement, the Carters, and Ray Holman. And of course, our taste buds will be satisfied. All this and more on this holiday edition of Caribbean Passport, right here on this station.
Hello everyone, here is an invitation to join me this and every Sunday until December 17th on GBN Television and K105 FM from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. for Yuletide Sundays. Great music, gifts, and all the wonderful things of Christmas. Yuletide Sundays comes to you compliments Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices, Grenville Credit Union, Gittins Healthcare, and Clear Vision Eye Center.
back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's Classic Radio and GBN TV. It's to the point for today, Wednesday, the 6th of December. Let me say good morning to Permanent Secretary, Mr. Mike Sylvester. Mr. Sylvester, good morning and welcome on To the Point this morning. Hope all is well with you.
Morning, Mr. Caro. All is well with me, and good morning to your listeners.
All right. Well, it's actually GT. I always get that little bit of mix-up, but nevertheless, it's all good.
Sorry. Apologies.
No problem at all.
I can say it without recognizing.
No problem, man. There's absolutely no problem. Now, let's get into our conversation this morning because we have lost some time in terms of the questionnaire. I'm going to get into more of the some bits of concern from Kerning. My question is more of a concern nature that we're going to get into this morning in terms of the budget. Now, my question number one. Now, the budget presentation on Monday, the government has placed an allocation of 1.6 million thereabout for the contribution to the new pensioners arrangement. I just had a caller speaking about that a while ago. Now, what is the construct in terms of the contribution by employer, if I could ask that?
Right. So basically where we are now, just give me 1 minute. Where we are now is the government is walking through with the consultant the details of that new pension scheme. Yeah. And so basically what they have is the government contribution into that scheme to be able to as government contribution, because basically both the employee and the employer has to contribute into what is called a defined contribution scheme. Where
I seem to have lost Mr. Sylvester there for a
leave before, then you propose to withdraw your own. If you leave after a particular time, then you can get both the employer and the employee contribution. So in terms of the details and so on, in terms of how much the employer is going to contribute and so on, there are different permutations right now in terms of that. But what we have done, based on the government's pronouncement and so on, and the way and the amount of work that has gone into the exercise already, we have sort of made the provision. So when that comes into effect, at least we'll be covered for that period. So that 1.6 is to cover government's contribution towards that pension. More than likely, based on how this is structured, the employee contributions combined would not exceed that amount.
All right. Another. How does this compare to the pension given by the 1958 pension law that government campaigned to uphold?
Right. So the difference between this pension system is this one is a defined contribution as opposed to a defined benefit. Under defined benefit, the employee does not pay. So the government is the one that basically covers for the pension and is not. So basically, at the end of the day, you work and then your contribution is defined, or your pension is defined. And it's based on a formula that you get based on the 1958 law and so on. And of course, you have built into that the gratuity aspect of it. And there are other provisions around the pension system that you get now as a 1958 pension. So if I may just speak to some of the specifics, you get the 25% gratuity now under the existing system. You have to work up to 26 and 26 years and 8 months before you get a full pension. You can retire before, but of course you get a less pension. You have a 12 and a half year period. That is where you get a reduced pension once you get the gratuity, and then after that it goes back up to a full pension. Yeah. So those are some of the provisions. If you, for example, you were to die, then your spouse gets for 1 year, and then after that nothing happens. Yeah. So those are the provisions of the old pension. Under the new pension, for example, with the defined contribution, that you can have different permutation. You can have a different design. So, for example, you can make it such that when the beneficiary dies, that the pension can continue until, say, your spouse dies. So that could be something that could be added to make it even as similar. When I say similar in the sense, in terms of the benefits and so on. So you sort of, in a sense, can equate the benefit. But what it does, it shifts the responsibility, shifts the obligation, say, from entirely the government or entirely the employer to with the employee having some responsibility and so on, being able to deal with your pension system once you retire from the system.
Let me also ask you this: Are workers worse off under this scheme versus the workers who are not who may not have fall under this arrangement?
No, that's the point I was making. I was trying to make at least is that not necessarily based on how you structure, you could be better off. All right, because I said under this current pension, for example, if you were to die, then your spouse doesn't get. In other words, your spouse in a matter of months, if your spouse is not working, then she basically on her own, really, because there's nothing that continues, right? So this one you construct it in a way that she gets something. If you understand what I'm saying.
I'm getting.
The other thing with this one, for example, is they're looking at what happens, for example, with persons who are in the system. Say that you've been in the system for 12 years under a contract for service or a contract of service, right? If you are starting you on a new pension system, say next year, right? What means is that what happens to your prior years, right? So there is something called past service due that you can then say, okay, well, that system in place 14 years ago, this is what would have been in my account for my contribution and for the government contribution and so on. And then basically you start with that. So that again is something that you can have as part of the system that then addresses the issue of inequity in terms of the older pension system being more equitable than the current one. So that's what I'm saying.
All right.
So there are different permutations, there are different parameters that you can put into that new system that does not, in other words, discriminate against you. The other thing is, for example, you have to wait 26 years, you have to wait how much years to actually get a pension under the system. A contributory system, you can leave after 5 years, for example, and then you get your benefit, and then you get the government contribution as well. So there are different things that you can do within there. So I would not say that it is less generous, but it's the only difference with this is that you are actually putting in as well, as opposed to the government putting in. At the end of the year, you determine you are given a pension that you have not contributed to at all. That's perhaps the significant difference.
Oh yeah, understandably so. Now, if it may I ask, who are the members of this pension committee, if may I ask?
The chair is Dr. Colin Gilchrist. They have been around quite a bit doing some consultations. I'm sure you've seen them here and there. And perhaps they appeared on your program as well. I'm not sure. But the Dr. Colin.
No, I don't think I ever have the pension committee on my program. Okay. No, I know I never have.
Right. P.S. Lyndon Marshall is the deputy chair, and there are other members across the public service. And I think there are a couple of members who are also not public service members or public sector members.
Okay. My second question that I would like to ask in this segment I want to go into. Now, the policy under which the Imani operates with the private sector. We saw the private sector business paying 50%, the government paying another 50%. With the increase in the stipend to the Imani, would the private sector now have to pay more, or have this particular policy changed in any way or sort?
Well, if you are based on the minister's pronouncement, the private sector, they are being called upon to actually treat the Imanis in the same way that the government is treating the Imanis. All right, so basically that is the call, and so my expectation and my understanding is that there will be some engagement with the private sector, so that they can actually deal with the matter in terms of making those persons permanent, increasing the pay if that needs to be. But the pronouncement that have been made, from my understanding, is that persons who are employed within the public system, government Imani workers, they are the ones who are going to benefit from the $500 increase in their current stipend, or rather, instead of a stipend, it now becomes a salary, and they will be given contracts for service, or contracts of employment, as opposed to whatever instrument that they have now. And so, in a sense, it's a closer to becoming more secure in tenure. And of course, again, the government then indicated that they will now pay the NIS for all of government workers who initially, as a contract for service, you were considered an employer. So you basically paid both your employee and your employer contribution. That has been basically removed, and in a sense, you will pay as an employee, and then government, of course, will pay as an employer to the national insurance scheme.
Okay. Well, you sort of answered my another question that I wanted to ask within this. Would all Imani benefit from this particular increase? But you certainly did answer that to a point already. Now, with the intent timeline for the Imani to transition from what should I say? What is the intended timeline for the Imani to transition from the National Training Agency?
Right. So the Imani transition is 2025. So you remember the three phases. So there are three phases. So the first phase, the 300 plus persons who are in the system, already in the system, they are on either temporary or probationary instruments and so on. That is expected to be complete by the end of this year. And of course, as the minister announced in the speech, several thousands, not thousands, sorry, a significant number of those persons have already received the letters of appointment and so on. Right now, the second phase, where you are looking at persons who are on within the system, so daily paid contracts of. Remember, there's a contract for and a contract of. So contract of and other such type instruments. We're talking about 1,754 individuals. It is the expectation that they will be regularized based on objective and approved criteria by the end of 2024, right? And then, of course, then you have the Imanis in the following period. So based on my understanding, by end of 2025, you will have the regularization of the Imanis, and we're talking about, for example, all those persons who are in the public service who are working side by side, for example, by other workers doing the same kind of job. Of course, you would have an assessment, and of course, they will be regularized into those positions and so on. So that is the timeline based on the guidelines as approved by the cabinet, as far as I understand.
Okay. Let me also ask you, there's some question that was raised about the financing of the 2024 budget. Several people have voiced their concern regarding the source of funds. How do you respond to these queries?
Well, I haven't actually heard the queries, but I mean, I remember if I can speak from last year, I know there was some talk about the financing of the budget. I think it's clearly a lack of understanding of how the government system operates and how the government system is financed. All right. So basically, you have revenues and grants. So that's the receipt side of things, and then you have your expenses and so on, right? The expenditure. When you deduct your expenses from your revenues, you could either get a negative figure or you get a positive figure. All right. Now, if I get a negative figure, for example, it means that my revenues are less than my expenditure. So then I have to finance that. And in financing that, there are three major sources of financing that I can use. So you have what we call domestic sources. Domestic sources, we are talking about, you can borrow from your commercial banks, you can issue treasury bills and bonds on the regional government securities markets, right? And it's a net effect. So if you already have instruments on those markets, or you already have one or two loans and some with the banks. If you take additional loans, then that's a positive financing. If you understand what I'm saying, yeah. Now, the second source is your external financing, and your external financing means all the loans that you're going to draw down in that period, minus the amounts that you're going to pay out in principal repayments or amortization. Now, that could be either negative or that could be positive, depending on if your disbursements are less than the amount that you have to pay off. So that's the other source. And the third source is categorized as other sources. And under that source, you have two main categories there. Basically, your drawdown on deposits that you have in your system. So the government you have a consolidated fund, and that is comprised of some bank accounts, locally or otherwise, where you have monies in those bank accounts, or you may not have monies in those bank accounts. If you have money in those bank accounts, then the source of financing that you draw down on those monies, yeah. And there's another source of financing that is called disposal of assets. So if the government has assets that it can dispose, then the government can do so. If you understand what I'm saying. So in the budget that the last two budgets, for example, it said the explanation was put there so that to help people understand the whole issue of how government budget is financed. But I see people take it out of context and saying that the government is planning to sell assets and sell this and sell that. I mean, I don't know if it was, I can't see what it was, but it was clear from the budget. And if you look at the numbers, you will see where the figures are. where the figures are, basically saying where those financing amounts and so on will come from. So I hope that clarifies it a bit.
All right. I hopefully hope so also. Another question I have, with the current projection of the Citizen by Investment, the CBI going into 2024, considering two of the major projects already wrapped up. We have the Six Senses, the Beach House. Tell us, what is tell us about that.
Right. So the projection for CBI, I mean, if you look at the budget, you will see that the projection for CBI is showing that it's going to be trending downwards after this year. Again, that was explained in terms of we had a sort of windfall this year, and that will go into next year, but to a lesser extent. Yeah.
All right.
So if you look at the numbers, you will see that the numbers are trending down, and the idea, so the budget makes allocation for the fact that when this windfall is over, you're basically going back to what your base was or historical trends on the CBI. That again, the government has said that they intend to have a new strategy with respect to the marketing for the CBI. So where in the past, for example, the developers were the ones who were going out there and marketing for their own specific project. Maybe some of them were marketing for Grenada, generally speaking. The CBI unit is going to take a more proactive approach in terms of marketing Grenada. And in that context, you just not market the projects, but you market the National Transmission Fund, where, for example, government would get $150,000 per applicant, a single applicant, that is, that comes into the Treasury almost immediately. So that approach is expected to generate. Of course, they go into new markets and so on. They talks about Middle East, Africa, and so on, Nigeria, some of these places where you have quite a bit of high worth individuals. And of course, if you were to get them to actually become citizens of your country, you could of course get some resources from that. Now, in terms of the projects, I think the minister mentioned the Kawana Bay, the former Kawana Bay site development. My understanding that is going to be a CBI project. And so while you have some projects that are outgoing, you have, of course, new projects that are coming on stream. The beach house, for example, they are going to expand. They're, of course, looking to acquire property adjacent to where they are now to expand the hotel. That's a CBI project. I assume that they're going to expand. Intercontinental is a project that is underway, and that again, of course, you expect that they will continue to require the Citizenship by Investment program to be able to build out. Deliverer project that again has picked up some momentum, and so there are a number of projects that are going to be driven through the CBI, and so I expect that you will have that activity continuing.
All right. We drew for a break, Mr. Sylvester. Let's take that break. We come back and we chat some more after the break. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point here on Classic Radio. Just approximately 13 minutes left on today's program. We come back. We do have a question or two. I'm still may have to ask Mr. Mike. Stay with us, folks. We're coming right back.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
We home for Christmas for 2 T20 internationals at the Grenada National Stadium on Thursday, December 14th and Saturday, December 16th. Locals get 50% off regular match tickets, plus an extra 20% off when you buy your tickets online. Visit windiescricket.com for more info.
Okay, Grenada, we are down to the grand finale and the final Grenada Shifts Health and Wellness Walk for 2023. This is no ordinary health walk, yet it's time to shake the streets of St. George for one last time with our walking friends from across the Spice Isle on Sunday, December 10th, 2023 in the nation's capital. The walk will be preceded by a health and wellness fair at Camahorn Park in Grenada from 12 noon to 4 p.m. and will include a wide variety of services. Then from 4 p.m. the walk leaves the ministerial complex heading along the Kirani James Boulevard onto the Grandance Main Road and ends at Camahorn Park in Grandance. All powered by Waggity Sound System. So pick up your telephone and call the St. George's Health Center or Grandance Medical Station to register for your t-shirts and headbands now. Just call 444-4250 or 440-3371 extension 41901 or register with us via our Facebook page.
Mention at the wing high, then you have things like man, you must come back, you know. We have the low power that.
When you push your portion, it is kind of like the same man, and it's just different name for the same kind of thing.
And last but not least, I just want to say to all the men who saw me, call me, and ask for peace.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. Welcome back, Mr. Mike Sylvester. Mr. I have another question. Still on the line of CBI as we continue this morning. Do you see CBI as a stable source of income going into 2024 and beyond?
CBI as a stable source going into
2024 and beyond.
24, 25, 26. Now, with any program, there are, of course, risks, and I think the minister highlighted the fact that this program, as other programs we've had in the past, they're subject to risks. I mean, you can talk about, for example, the international business companies and that program that we had many years ago that basically came under significant pressure and had to fold. So any of those programs can face significant risks. Where I sit, I do not see anything happen to the CBI for the next 3-4 years. In fact, I think the CBI revenues will remain strong. I want to make the point also that not just Grenada that's involved in the CBI program. I mean, St. Kitts, Dominica, St. Lucia, and so on. The good thing about Grenada's case is that we have about 10% of our revenues come from CBI, where in other cases you have 40-50%. And so a shock to the CBI program would not affect Grenada as much. And if you look at what has been happening to our revenues and so on, our revenues have been growing very strong. Of course, it's tied to what's happening in the economy and so on. And so once the economy continues to perform, outside of CBI, you do expect to have a significant revenue intake. The issue there is that, of course, if you lose 10% of your CBI revenues, it means that you have to adjust or you have to find new nodes or new revenue sources to be able to continue at the same level of expenditure and so on. So I think that's where you have to look at it. Of course, I know that in terms of the thinking going forward, you have to pivot. If not CBI, then what? So you basically have to be looking at this from a perspective of what are the scenarios that you can a permutation that you can come up with. Whether to be a shock to the CBI program. And I think that's where my understanding is the government head is in terms of thinking all about all of these things to be able to ensure that your sustainability of your public finances and your debts and so on, that can continue going forward.
Let me also ask you this. How did agriculture perform in 2023? Have we met the production target, etc. for thus far? Within?
That's a question I think you have to direct to the Minister of Agriculture, the Minister and PSD and this. So I would not comment on agriculture at this particular stage.
All right. And another question I would like to ask. Grenada will always have an active social partner between government and civil society groups, including the unions and churches. Is this still the case?
That again, I know there was an active one. I know there was a commitment to restart that process in terms of how it was organized before. I can't tell you that I know that it has happened, but I do know that there is consultation with stakeholders. And of course, we just had the budget process, as you're quite aware. And we engage stakeholders, we engage at the parish, at the community levels, and so on. So there is that engagement with society, with citizens. But at the level of the social partners, as it was constructed before, I cannot tell you that is happening in that particular way. But then again, there's a question that you need to direct at the Ministry of Prime Minister's Office. National Security, that office there.
I just asked it at the stage of consultation process, how, of course, there's the budget and so forth, how the folks were consulted. I have a question from someone via the WhatsApp, and they asked to ask you this. They asked could the PS describe the robust consultation process that has driven the decision with regards to the proposed act of government in reference to pension? That individual is asking that question.
Right. So of course the government established a technical working group, a committee. The committee, and through that committee, a consultant actuary was engaged, and they basically, so the committee then went around doing consultations. They invited all parties, including the unions. I can't say that the unions participated, if I'm not mistaken, or if anyone has information on that, they can speak to that. But I'm pretty sure that they were invited to actually represent on the committee, as well as participate in the consultations and so on. So those consultations happen. Of course, the committee, as they did with the minimum wage and so on, they basically did extensive consultation in that regard. I know they've had engagement with the workers. I know they've had engagement with the public sector people in particular. So, and that of course is based on the actuary looking at the existing pension system, sort of thinking through what government needs, because we have to also look at the pension system in terms of the sustainability of the pension system going forward. The government has clearly stated that the existing pension system, if you were to continue adding people to that system, that will become unsustainable over time. Right, and so what the intention is to cut at this particular stage and ensure that the persons who are already entitled to a pension, that their pension is secured, and that you are in a position to be able to fund that going down the road. And that's important, because you not only introducing a new system, because the new system is not going to affect those that are already entitled to a pension and that they continue to receive the pension once they retire and so on. That is secure. What the government is securing is those persons who are in the system now and they are not entitled to a pension, right? So the contract workers, the persons who will be regularized and so on. And to give them a pension system that would basically enable them to actually receive a pension at the end of the day. But that pension is funded properly. And as they funded properly, if you have a system that is a contributory system, then of course not only the government contributes, but of course the employee contributes and so on. Those monies are invested, and basically what goes into that pot is what you get. You're not entitled to any fancy formula that says, this is how your pension is calculated, right? So under the current system, you have 26 and 2/3 over over 320 over 400, 480, multiplied by your last salary and so on. That gives you what your pension is, right? And of course, you then take out your 25% gratuity and you get a reduced pension for a period. After 12 years, it then goes back up to your full pension. So there's no formula in that context there. And so it's a more sustainable pension system. And so government will be able to carry both going forward in a sustainable way. So that is the thinking and the understanding and behind the reform of the pension system. So in terms of consultation, yes, I'm not sure the person. And in terms of their question, whether and to what extent they were consulted and if they were invited to consultation and they did not attend.
Okay. So well, I hope you did answer it for them some way or the other. I think we do have a caller. Let's entertain this caller. We're not able to entertain much callers this morning because of time constraint, but let's entertain this caller, see what they have to contribute. Caller, good morning, welcome.
Yes, sir. Good morning, and good morning to the Permanent Secretary. I think you see it. Two things I want to mention. One, the CBI. I think Grenada is too dependent on that. To me, the CBI is a Trojan horse. And we have to be very careful because any kind of people that could come to the country with this because of money. The word of God tells us the love of money. That is not the need, not the money, but the love of money is the root of all evil. And secondly, what I want to talk about, this marijuana, I hope that this government will be prepared to take care of the youthful population of this country when they open up the marijuana box for them to just pull and eat. Because we have heard of in another country where they use, this marijuana to put in snacks and sell to our school children. And a number of them were taken to hospital until when they investigated, they realized that the snacks that they were selling, that these children in bed because of the freedom of this marijuana. This is a herb which is very dangerous and it does not have as much medical properties as we are assessing it to be. I have been told by a medical doctor when I was at the SGU that marijuana has very little medicinal purposes, very little, and it is more dangerous than anything else. So I hope we know what we're talking about because we want to make money, because marijuana is on the market, we could sell, we want to make money, we will kill out our nation just to make a few dollars.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if you could respond to anything the caller says a little way out of the context of it, but
no, well, I know the comments. I mean, I can't speak to the qualities or the properties and so on. I mean, I think that but the conversation is good because I think it helps us to better understand both CBI, both marijuana and so on. So I know the comments of the caller.
I do have another question from someone online. Let me give you that before we, of course, wrap. And someone is saying, what's the difference in the concept between the NIS and the new pension scheme? Does Grenada constitution come to play in that in any way at all?
Well, no. So right now, right, the people who are in the public service under the 1958 pension, they will be entitled both to a NIS pension and they will be entitled to a government pension, right? The new pension system, in a similar way, you'll be entitled to your NIS pension once you continue to contribute to NIS. And of course, as part of that new pension system, is a government pension, so it's not a NIS pension. So there is no issue. There are no issues there. Now, of course, when we did the technical assistance and so on, one of the recommendations that the government should really underscore underwrite one pension system. So in other words, if you contribute into NIS now, it could be a case where the government says, okay, we're not going to contribute to NIS on your behalf. Whatever money you pay into NIS, that to basically come back into this new pension system that you have, in addition to what you're going to contribute and so on. So that is another permutation, another option that you can basically go through. But I think, remember, the system is actually being developed now. And of course, there will be continued consultation and so on before the government decide or adopts the particular framework. And that will then guide what goes forward. So it's not a system where it's closed and there are no further inputs into the design. What we got was the report from the consultant saying, having reviewed the situation, having taken into consideration the objective that you want with respect to sustainability of pension benefits and so on going forward, and of course covering those persons who are not currently covered, then they would develop a framework around that. And of course you can have tweaks and so forth. I mentioned, for example, after you get your monies, so let's suppose you're about to retire, and the government then say, okay, here are your monies. You can spend on that in 6 months, right? And then you become a burden on the state because you don't have any monies. Or that can be converted into an annuity where then they pay you a sum for the next, say, 15, 20 years. That could be an option that could be built in within that new pension system that allows you sustainability. Or you could say, for example, instead of 10 years, I will pay you until you're dead, or until you die, sorry. So any of those permutations or any of those options could be built into the system. And so I was making the point to say it's not that it's less favorable than the current one, but that there are options based on how that segment or sector has developed. Of course, as you continue all these programs, there are new learnings and so on, and so you can factor those into any new system or program to give you what you really want. And so I think that is the thinking and that's the understanding from where I sit in terms of how the government is going to approach that going forward.
All right. No, just a bit of a follow-up. I know we are a bit over time. Maybe just answer this briefly and then we take a wrap for today. Remember that question that the individual speak about the robust consultation, the consultation they spoke about. They will say there's supposed to be a scheduled consultations organized by your particular ministry, and they're asking if you can speak to that.
On the pensions?
Yes.
No. The pension is not. The pension is through the Department of Public Administration. They are the lead from a governmental department point of view, together with the consultants and the technical working group and so on. So as I said, I know there was a consultation with all public workers that was organized through that same department. And outside of that, I know they've had consultation because the actuary and so on, they met with finance as a stakeholder. If you understand what I'm saying, they met with the minister, they met with people and so on. So you have some of these things that is happening. But the point I'm making is that it's not a done deal in terms of the framework has already been developed and signed off on. It's a process of iteration, and of course it has to go to cabinet. Cabinet will approve. If there are any amendments to be made to any laws, then of course that will be done as well before the new system then takes effect. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, of course, Mr. Sylvester, I want to thank you for being with us this morning. Any closing comments before we take a wrap this morning?
No, thank you very much. I'm happy to share information that's within my purview with the citizens and so on. So if I'm invited, I'll be happy to do so.
Well, you always will be invited. Have yourself a great day, sir, and all the best.
All right. Same to you.
All right.
And yeah, good morning to you, listeners.
All right. Hey, folks, so what's up? We take a wrap for today's program of To The Point. Join us again for another edition. Most likely tomorrow, we will have another edition for you. Until then, have yourself a good one, folks. That's where we say goodbye for this edition of To The Point. Goodbye, folks. Have yourself a great day. That's where I say goodbye.